Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're jumping into something huge, something that really shapes our modern world. The English language. People often call it the global language, and, well, you can see why it's everywhere, right? International business, science, education. So much of our entertainment. So this deep dive, we're using it as a shortcut. We're digging into our source, Mastering English, a comprehensive learning guide to pull out the absolute best bits. Our mission here is to give you practical, actionable strategies, a really solid foundation, basically, so you can get better at English without, getting totally swamped by information. So whether you're maybe studying, working, looking to boost your career, or you're just curious, this is for you. We want to help you improve efficiently.
It really is fascinating, isn't it? Just how much English is woven into everything now. The guide makes such a strong point that learning English isn't just like ticking off a skill. It genuinely unlocks a whole world of opportunities. Think about it, communicating with people all over the globe, accessing just this vast ocean of information online, whether it's research or news or just connecting with communities.
Yeah, and it's more than just access, isn't it? The guide digs deeper. It talks about boosting your career, which, let's be honest, makes a lot of sense today. And travel becomes easier, more confident. But I also like the simpler thing it mentioned, just enjoying movies or music or books as they were originally made. There's something really rich about that, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. It adds a whole different dimension to your personal life. And if you think bigger picture, it's about breaking down barriers, both cultural and informational. But hang on, before we even get into the how-to, the guide really hammers home something critical: mindset. It's very clear that learning a language, well, it takes time, it takes effort, it's a journey.
That totally tracks. Your attitude really shapes how well you learn.
Yeah.
But okay, what about someone who's maybe struggled before? That idea of embracing mistakes might feel a bit weird. What does the guide say about building that resilient mindset?
Right, and it's interesting because the guide kind of pushes against that fear. It says mistakes aren't just like, okay, they're essential, they're actual fuel for learning. Think of it like this. Each mistake shows your brain where a connection needs strengthening. So a stumble becomes a step up. The guide says, embrace them, be patient, be consistent, and really, really celebrate the small wins that keeps you going. It also talks about being curious, open to new words, and crucially, just speaking, even if you feel shy. And the big one, practice regularly. Even just a few minutes every single day. Consistency beats intensity here.
Okay, so get your head right first. Makes sense. Your mental compass is set for the journey. Now we can start thinking about the actual tools, the building blocks. The guide seems to break down the practical skills pretty methodically. Where does it suggest we start?
Well, the guide points straight to vocabulary as the absolute foundation. You can't communicate without words, right? It suggests starting smart focus on common, really useful words and phrases first. Everyday greetings, hello, good morning, how are you? Basic verbs, go, come, eat, see, know. Useful adjectives, big, small, good, difficult, stuff like that. And for actually learning them, it recommends writing them down maybe in a notebook, using them in sentences right away. And flashcards, either old school paper ones or apps like Anki or Quizlet, are great for that spaced repetition.
Right, having the words is one thing, but saying them so people understand you, that's another hurdle. Pronunciation can be really tough in English. How does the guide suggest tackling that?
Yeah, pronunciation is definitely key. English has some sounds that just don't exist in other languages, which makes it tricky. The guide's approach is basically immersion and imitation. Listen really closely to native speakers, podcasts, movies, music, whatever. Then actively try to repeat what you hear. Mimic the sounds, the rhythm. It trains your mouth and your ear together. For people who are really serious about nailing it, it even suggests looking into the International Phonetic Alphabet, the IPA, to get super precise. Oh, and recording your own voice. That's a big one. Compare yourself to native speakers. It can be eye-opening.
Okay, makes sense. And then grammar, the one everyone loves to hate, maybe. But it's the structure underneath everything, isn't it?
It absolutely is. You need that scaffolding to build proper sentences. But the guide is smart about it. It says, don't try to swallow the whole rule book at once. Focus on the basics first. Things like simple tenses, present, past, future, making sure your subjects and verbs agree, how to form questions correctly, using articles like a and the. And here's the crucial bit of advice it gives. Don't try to memorize all grammar rules at once. Instead, learn them step by step and apply them in writing and speaking. That immediate application's where it sticks.
Okay, so you gather the ingredients, vocab, pronunciation, grammar, but the guide says the real learning happens when you start using them, right? Putting it all together in practice. How does it suggest we do that? Maybe starting with listening skills.
Right, active practice is where fluency develops. And listening, yeah, that can be tough at first. Native speakers talk fast, use slang, so the guide suggests starting slow. Use materials made for learners, like beginner podcasts, where the speech is clear and maybe a bit slower. Watching English videos with subtitles is fantastic. English subtitles ideally, so you connect the sound to the spelling. Another great tip, listen to the same thing multiple times. You'll catch more each time, guaranteed. And try active listening. Maybe jot down keywords or main ideas as you listen. It keeps you focused.
And speaking, that's often the biggest goal, but also the scariest part, especially if you don't have someone to practice with easily. What are some ways to build confidence there?
Yeah, the speaking hurdle is real, but the guide offers some great solo practice ideas, like just talking to yourself in the mirror, describe your day, your opinions, anything. It sounds simple, but it helps. Recording yourself speaking is also really useful for catching your own mistakes or hesitations. And then there are tools for interaction. Language exchange apps like Tandem or HelloTalk connect you with native speakers who want to learn your language, win-win. Or joining online groups, virtual classes, places where you can speak in a supportive environment. And the guide is really clear. Feeling nervous is totally normal. The main thing is just to open your mouth and try.
Okay, that makes sense. And reading seems like a more, maybe relaxed way to absorb vocabulary and see grammar in action. Where should learners start with reading materials?
Reading is fantastic for that, exactly. Seeing words and structures used naturally in context. The guide advises starting simple to build confidence. Children's books are great, actually. Graded readers, which are books written specifically for different learner levels. Or news articles aimed at learners. Then, as you get better, you can move on to blogs, regular newspapers, short stories, and eventually full novels. A good habit is to underline new words as you read and try, really try, to guess the meaning from the context before you look it up. That guessing process helps lock it in your memory.
Right, actively engaging with it. And finally, writing. That seems like where you really have to pull everything together, organize your thoughts, pay attention to accuracy.
Exactly. Writing forces you to be more precise and conscious about grammar and word choice. The guide suggests starting small again. Maybe keep a simple daily journal in English. Just a few sentences about your day, other ideas. Writing short emails or messages to practice practical communication. Trying simple essays on topics you like. Summarizing things you've read or watched. Even posting comments on social media in English can be good practice. But the absolute key advice here is always review your writing. Look for your own mistakes. Learn from them. That feedback loop is critical for getting better.
It's pretty amazing how much tech helps now, isn't it? Tools our parents or grandparents just didn't have. What specific apps or websites does the guide recommend?
Yeah, technology offers some fantastic support. The guide mentions a few good ones. Duolingo is popular for vocabulary building, especially early on. BBC Learning English has tons of great lessons, articles, videos. Grammarly can be really helpful for checking your writing, catching those little errors. YouTube is just a goldmine for free lessons on everything imaginable, plus endless listening practice. And LingQ gets mentioned for helping you work with authentic reading and listening content. But, and this is a big but from the guide, use technology to supplement your learning, but don't rely on it alone. It stresses that real communication, real practice with people is still essential. Tech is a tool, not a replacement for interaction.
That's such a crucial point. Use the tools, don't let the tools use you kind of thing. And tying this all together for the long haul, setting goals, staying motivated, that seems vital for any big learning project. How did the guide suggest we approach that?
You've hit it exactly. Without clear goals and sustained motivation, it's easy to drift off course. The guide gives really concrete examples of good goals. Things like learn 10 new words every week. Watch one English movie, maybe with subtitles first, every weekend. Write one short paragraph daily. Aim for a 5-minute conversation in English each week. Measurable stuff, you know. And it really emphasizes tracking your progress. Seeing how far you've come is huge for motivation. Reward yourself for hitting milestones because, let's face it, everyone feels stuck sometimes. It's normal. So the guide's tips for staying motivated are things like constantly remind yourself why you started learning English in the first place. What's your big goal? Celebrate those small victories we talked about earlier. Mix up your learning activities so it doesn't get boring. Find a study buddy or connect with other learners online for support. If we link it back, that consistent motivation, that's the engine for this whole journey, isn't it? Especially when learning takes time.
Wow, okay. That really is a comprehensive roadmap, isn't it? It makes it clear that, yeah, mastering English is a big undertaking, a real journey. But it's not some impossible dream. With that commitment, that consistent practice, using these kinds of resources smartly, Fluency feels genuinely achievable. Every step, even the tiny ones, really does move you forward.
Exactly. It's a path of continuous improvement and honestly a lot of self-discovery along the way too.
So as you think about everything we've covered in this deep dive, maybe consider this. It's not just about the information you'll be able to get by mastering English. Think about the new ideas, the perspectives you'll be able to create and share with the world. How might this new language skill actually reshape how you see things, who you connect with, maybe even a part of your own identity? That's something powerful to consider, isn't it?